All right, and another form of long form stuff for the second channel, and perfect timing, absolutely perfect timing from BSG. They posted these patch notes exactly 1 minute after my video went live, especially when they decide to. I mean, lately they've been putting the patch notes up like after the patch goes live, so I don't know. They've been mix and match some stuff, and honestly, my brain's everywhere. I got a lot of stuff I got to do today, and my arm's practically useless right now because of the fucking pinch nerve that I got on my arm. Anyway, we got the patch notes now, so let's go through this stuff. I'll talk about it tomorrow, and we'll match it up tomorrow when we actually get some time in game, because there's actually some very important stuff in here. We've got reduced damage to blacked out limbs by 30%. That's actually, that's a solid chunk, especially when you're trying to wear people down by just kind of, lighten them up. That's actually a solid chunk. For those that don't know, I'm sure everybody that's watching knows, when a limb is black, it then puts all of the other damage out to the rest of the limbs that are not black. So that could end up kind of like making waves across all the other limbs, especially if you have multiple black limbs. That could actually end up being pretty significant, especially in the arms when you're getting lit up in the arms a lot, and legs. So leg meta might be a little different. Obviously, it's still going to work the same way, but it might be a little bit different tomorrow. People are going to be testing this stuff out, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. All of the netcode stuff is kind of summed up in the first few lines there. It's talking about fundamentally change the architecture of player display and synchronization. And then the next several lines after that, that's all netcode stuff. That's what we were talking about with 13.1. Improve the hit registration, increase accuracy of positioning, and stuff with desync. Again, talking about desync, network traffic optimization, memory consumption optimization. That's all netcode stuff. Extremely important. This is hashtag fix your game stuff. They also did a major update to Oculus Spatializer. So that's all audio. Sounds like they did a bunch of audio changes as well, sound adjustments. Again, with the audio stuff, we're going to have to be in game to actually see what it sounds like. For all we know, they ended up messing it up more. We got to go get in game with this stuff in the game and test it out and check it out for ourselves. We'll talk about that in the main channel tomorrow, but didn't even know that they were going to do that stuff. So that's some interesting extra stuff on there. When it comes around sound, balancing changes. I don't know why they formatted it like this. Maybe this was an error where they put it like, they decided to go from the dashes to the dots. So dashes up here were like netcode stuff, and then dots were audio stuff. It was sound stuff. And then we got balancing changes. That was also a dot, but then they did the colon, so it's like a list. I think what they meant to do there is this is supposed to be like these. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like formatted like this. And then this was going to be the balancing changes. So I don't think there's going to be other balancing changes. I don't think it's on its own where it just says various balancing changes. They've done something similar in the past, but I don't think this is what this is. I think that they accidentally had the dot here, and I think this is supposed to be formatted like this, and then listed the reduced damage to blacked out limbs and slightly increased blunt damage. Rework the bot spawn system in practice mode. That's not necessarily balanced. That's just something extra. So I think this is just a little bit of a format error here, and I think the only balancing changes that we're going to see tomorrow, unless they end up hiding stuff, is going to be the slightly increased blunt damage and then reduced damage to blacked out limbs, which I already talked about with the blacked out limbs, and that could end up being pretty important, especially with the leg meta stuff. We'll have to see what the effect of that is in game. And then we got the list of fixes, a lot of stuff that's going on with Streets of Tarkov, fixed bot not spawning in practice mode, another practice mode thing. That's offline raids, in case anybody needed to understand what that was, but it's the online offline raids. You can the co-op offline raids. Fixed the incorrect distance at which weapon flashlights stop being visible. Finally, another. I mean, we'll see if it's actually fully fixed with the flashlights tomorrow. Fix the visual artifacts when changing the field of view while in raid. I know that there was a couple exploits, which I won't go into too much detail with this stuff, and I know a lot of people messed around with that, so maybe that's a fix to that. I hope it is. Fixed and optimized the rendering of glass and transparent objects on Streets of Tarkov. More Streets of Tarkov stuff. The Windows stuff I mean, there's a lot of Windows in Tarkov, but obviously it's going to be important with Streets of Tarkov. Fix the cause of stutters in some specific areas on locations, which could occur during the calculations of sound occlusion. I mean, it's a fix, but it's also interesting they put it in with maybe they should put it up here. I don't know. It's definitely some more sound improvements. Fixed bug where open doors could muffle sounds or vice versa. This was actually huge. Whenever you're if you were trying to go into a hallway or get out of a hallway and you're fighting somebody back and forth like we always do in dorms, those kind of things. It was always weird between being in the room and being out of the, or not always, but a lot of the time it would be weird going in and out of the room. Since they've updated that, the dorms specifically on customs, and now customs entirely with the new sound, that's helped a lot for sure. But then there would be, that would be just the example of going in and out of a door, and there's lots of other maps that would happen on. So hopefully that's the fix for the rest of the locations. We'll see, or the rest of the areas where that was happening. Player scavs with high reputation no longer lose fence rep if they kill the rogue bosses. I did not even know that was a thing, probably because nobody ever found them alive when they were on their scav, but now they probably are with the new event. So luckily I actually hunted them a couple raids, but they were always dead whenever I went to go check on my scav. So luckily I didn't run into them. I guess that was a thing, because that's not supposed to be a thing. Rogues are different. They are not considered part of like the scav faction, while the bosses are. More detail on that when the game actually launches and they decide to start talking about that stuff. Fixed a rare bug where bosses or their guards would freeze after throwing a grenade. I never saw this online. I saw it a couple times offline when I was messing around trying to do like a bunch of kills in an offline raid and stuff like that, where I was trying to rack them up. I was actually going to do a video about that on the main channel, about different game modes and little games that you can do in offline. For some reason I was seeing it happen a lot in offline, probably because there were so many bots that were spawning when it was happening. But I never saw it online, so I mean, good that would get fixed, because it's a, just weird, just immersion thing, just to have somebody freeze after throwing a grenade, not ideal. Road decals are no longer superimposed on dropped items, equipment, and weapons. Road decals are no longer superimposed on dropped items, equipment, and weapons. Don't even know what that is. Gotta be honest there. And at the end, this update does not include the Unity version update. In the near future, we plan to publish an updated release roadmap for this year, which will include a game engine update, content patches, and more. So they are updating the roadmap. We'll see where Unity 21 ends up on that roadmap. And guess what? We'll see where patch 14 ends up being on that roadmap. That's definitely something that they could fix. Engine update, Unity 21. Content patches, that's patch 14, and more technical patches. Still very much in line with what I mentioned literally 30 minutes ago on the main channel, where they could end up putting out this patch. It could be going months into the rest of the year, into the winter, without a wipe, where we're trying to still fix the problems that could pop up with the with patch 13.1, with the new netcode stuff, all this stuff up here, while we're still going through all this stuff. And then somehow that links into their engine update. We'll see when we get Unity 21, and we'll see what's going on with patch 14. Definitely a change of pace than what we were expecting with the roadmap, for sure. So otherwise, guys, full video tomorrow, especially with in-game footage and stuff like that. We'll actually get some time in-game with the patch. But otherwise, follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord for the latest news. You guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.